And we are here on the Get Foxy show with the lovely Jenae Noonan. Jenae, thank you so much for taking the time. You are one busy lady. You're training for Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. You're a World Games gold medalist. You own a publishing company and a company that teaches practical self-defense skills. You've got a couple of cane corso pups that keep you busy. And, you know, looking at your Instagram page, it looks like you also do a little bit of modeling. So how in the world are you handling all of this?
I live by a say yes to what makes your soul on fire. So people look at me and think I'm busy. I am busy, but you know, some days I wake up and my soul's not feeling training, so I won't go to the gym. And some days my soul feels like writing, so I'll sit down and write. So I'm really fortunate to have a life and a schedule where I can do what I feel passionate about when I feel passionate about it. And I think I used to be a school teacher, and waking up every day and doing the same thing. I love school teachers, don't get me wrong, but for me, waking up every day and doing the same thing, just like, oh, sorry, I have a puppy that just came to say hi.
No
Um,
worries.
waking up every day and doing the same thing, it drained me, and I wanted to come home and paint, or I wanted to come home and write, and I started to set my life up to where that could be. I could live for my passion daily. If I wanted to go train in the morning, I would go train in the morning, and I think that's how you like. I don't burn out, and that could be how I'm a world champion. Is I when I train, I can be fully focused on training, and I want to be there, and I'm passionate about being there, and it just yeah, that's how I live. So yeah, I have a lot going on, but it's when I'm passionate about it, I can take care of it and do those kind of things, if that makes sense.
You bet. Well, I'm curious to know why and how Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I mean, that's something that, you know, I can tell it's become more common here in the U.S. over the past couple of decades. But you've been training for a while. How did you end up in that?
So I randomly at 21 did any mini miny mo on a newspaper of open houses to live at. And I moved into a house and I had two professional fighters that lived there. I don't recommend that, but it worked out for me. um, and both the guys that lived there they both wanted me to come train at their facilities. And so I started training, and it was like 2004, so a lot of girls weren't doing it, and they wanted a girl at the gym to kind of encourage other girls to do it. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I like challenging myself, and no matter how good you get in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there's always a new challenge. There's always somebody better than you. There's always something you can learn. There's always new techniques. So I, within 6 months of doing it, I just fell in love with it and never looked back.
I just recently got my boys into Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they are absolutely loving it. And to me, it's amazing to see that they allow boys and girls to train with one another.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I grew up wrestling in high school, and it was like back in the 90s. And no, they had that kind of separate. And so you couldn't do that. But now it's like, yeah, watch those girls work with those boys. And some of those girls, I mean, oh my goodness. They throw those boys around, and the boys have a tough time with them, and it's kind of fun to watch.
I think like when I train with men, and it's very empowering knowing that I can defend myself. And inevitably, like if I'm doing jiu-jitsu, I want to be able to defend myself in a street situation or a life situation. So when I train with the men, it is extremely empowering that I can maneuver. They are stronger, they are bigger. I'm sorry, it's just physics, but or genetics. But it's so empowering, and when a young girl, it's so empowering for young girls and so humbling for boys. They learn, you know, don't mess with the girls. Their girls are just as strong. I do know, like at 12 and 13 they start dividing them, because when the hormones kick in, it does get a little um unfair, I guess I could say. But it's still in training for the rest of the girls' lives, for the rest of the boys' life, they're going to be training, and I think it teaches. It's I recommend jiu-jitsu for every living soul. Like, take a class, try it. It's amazing.
And what do you find so amazing about it?
Again, the empowerment, the challenge. I like, yeah, Brizzo. Sorry, my dog. I like how empowering it is. I like how and when I teach young women and seeing them, that aha moment where they realize that, you know, they are strong and they are, guys, stop. um, when they realize they're strong and they realize that they can do those kinds of things. So I just, yeah, I love how empowering it is and how what you learn from it. I wrote my first book. My first book is called Fighter Living Life Like a Champion, and it takes all the principles I've learned from fighting and how to apply those into everyday life, from learning how to be patient and learning how to just the different, there's so many aspects of jiu-jitsu that I've learned and taken into real life. Yeah, because jiu-jitsu is not real life, but into everyday life. So yeah.
Well, I know my boys are definitely picking up self-discipline
Mm,
skill,
yes.
which, man, great stuff. And that applies really to all of us. I mean, we all could benefit from
Absolutely.
training in that kind of fashion.
I every time I speak or every time I do a seminar, everyone's always like, "What martial art would you recommend?" And I always recommend jujitsu. It's gentle. You're not going to get punched in the face unless somebody loses their mind. But um, you're right. Like the discipline of that, and even adults, like for men, the humbling aspect of it, and for women, it's humbling as well. But just learning any martial art is just a whole new facet of life. I mean, if you're listening to this and you need something, I'd try martial arts. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you the question I ask all my guests, and that is, what does Foxy and being Foxy mean to you, Jenae?
Ooh, what does Foxy mean to me? Um, unapologetically authentic. Um, being yourself, not apologizing for who you are, having confidence in who you are, saying this is me, this is who I am. I guess it comes with confidence. So when I think about a foxy lady or a foxy person, I just think of confidence. I think when people think of foxy, they think of sexy, but I think confidence is the ultimate form of sexiness. You know, what is a confident person? A confident person is kind. A confident person is caring. And when you exude confidence, I think that above anything is sexy.
You bet. Has
Or
there
fox.
been a time in your life where you couldn't find that foxiness? And if there was, what did you do to eventually reclaim that and own that?
I think that is an ongoing factor in my life. I think there's setbacks every day. I just recently just had a huge setback in my love life or personal life, and it took a few days or so to remember who I am. I'm a confident, beautiful, wonderful woman, and it's not me that's having this issue, it's that person. And to be able to give myself that space to let it go, I think it's an everyday thing. It's a battle, not a battle. It's just, every day waking up, and there could be setbacks, and there could be hard times, and there could be moments of insecurities, but it's giving that personal care, taking a walk and having that conversation with yourself. I always believe that there's three people living inside of us. Hold on, sorry, Rizzo. Shh. Thank you. Uh, we have our inner child, and we have our adolescent, and we have our adult. And sometimes our little inner child is having a little temper tantrum, having a moment of insecurity, and if we can recognize that and remember the adult, we can remember, like, hey, you're okay. This is a setback. We're going to be fine. We're going to work through this, and just giving yourself that time and the compassionate and love with yourself, like the self-love. Don't be like, God, why are you having such a hard time? Like, you're having a hard time, feel it, go through it, and then remember who the F you are. Remember, like I hate to say this, but it's true. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I say, "You're Jenae Noonan." Like, do you know, like, and not even a conceited level, like how amazing, how kind, and how loving, and how passionate you are. Like, why? Like, let's get through this. Like that kind of thing. So yes, I definitely have moments where I'm not feeling so foxy.
And what do you personally do for self-care to kind of help bring yourself out of those kind of darker moments?
um, One thing I do is I stay off social media. I minimize how much I'm not even on there. I haven't been on there for the last week, due to this new cave I'm getting myself out of. I stay off social media because social media can be very, if you're not in the right mental state, it can be very depressing. Like, look what they're doing and I'm not doing that. And even somebody like me who is doing so much with my life has those moments. I have those moments where I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I just won the World Games like in 2018. In 2019, I'm sitting here like, what's going on? What am I doing with my life? Jenae, relax. So I stay off social media. I journal. I do a lot of art. I like to paint. I like to do artwork, things I can do kind of distract myself a little bit, things I can do to stay in the moment, focusing things. I will go to the gym more. I do tend to train a little bit harder in those moments. um, Tap a few more people out. I go to the lake. I live near a lake, and so I go to the lake to just be in nature. And I really listen to my heart. Like, what is it that I need? Do I need a barrel of ice cream? Although I do have a therapist, and he told me that a barrel of ice cream is like the worst thing you can do. And I, at my age, just learning that because of the carbs. But I just stay true to myself, and I know it's a process. So today I might not feel okay. Yesterday I might not feel okay. This morning I could wake up and be like, today's going to be a good day. I'm going to give myself the time. I'm not going to be hard on myself. I'm going to love myself through it. Like a 5-year-old throwing a temper tantrum on the floor. Like when they're done, they can come back to adult life. So I allow myself that time and that space. I do what I need to do. Stay off social media. Exercise a little bit more. That kind of stuff.
Boy, it sounds to me like you're doing some of the right stuff. I mean, as a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, one of the things I talk to my aesthetic and facial patients about is allowing yourself to be able to express and process those emotions that you're dealing with. In
Mm,
our society, it seems like so often we're taught to just stuff it all down and just put it in a box somewhere and let it sit. But what
yeah.
happens is what, at least from my line of work's perspective, it ends up showing up on your face. Those unprocessed emotions actually will write lines on your face. So these forehead lines here, these lines in between your eyebrows, the ones that come down over here or over here, they all have emotional stories associated with them. And so if you don't want those stories to be read, allow those emotions to flow through you. Emotion, energy in motion, allow it to move through you, process those, and you'll feel so much better and continue to look young and
Yeah.
vibrant.
I I agree with that 100%. I'm a very transparent person, and I feel like if I'm hurting, it's okay to let people know I'm hurting. And I don't have a problem. And it's funny because people see me as this world champion fighter, and they're like, "You're supposed to be strong." Being able to say I'm hurting is very strong. Being able to come out and say, this is how this hurts, is very strong. It's the people who act strong and this doesn't bother me, and none of this bothers me, and F the world. That is not strength. No, that is burying it down. That is holding it in tight. It's like that's I'm not confident enough to say I'm sad right now, I'm hurt right now, I'm embarrassed right now. Like, being able to express those feelings is, to me, very strong. So yeah, I am a strong person because I am able to, because human beings have these emotions. We all have sadness and all of that, and people who act like they don't, everyone knows you're lying. Like, there's no superhumans out there. So I agree 100%. Like, be authentic, and that's what unapologetically authentic. Like, that's Foxy.
Yes. Yeah, there is such power and strength in admitting your vulnerability and showing that vulnerability. That's a lesson I just recently learned a few years ago while my oldest son was going through leukemia treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally kind of had to have a breakdown to have a breakthrough. But what I learned was, yeah, it's okay to show that you're hurting or that you're feeling down or feeling weak. You stuff all that in, it causes problems. So God bless you for being able to do that as well as you do, and be proud of your vulnerability. That's huge, and that's such a lesson that a lot of us need to learn.
Thank you.
So who in your world embodies Foxy?
Oh, um, dang. My my best friend Tiffany. She's a little foxy lady. Um, my friend Casey. I feel bad saying names because I know, like, there's a few friends that are like, wait, but me. But as on the spot, friends, don't be mad. um, um, yeah, those two come up. That's pretty much it. My friend Kim. Um, there's God, thanks. I feel like a horrible friend. There's my friends. We're just gonna put a general blanket out there. My friends, all of them. I
That
like to surround myself with strong people. So or people who can make me a better person, who can encourage me. So the people that I surround myself with the most definitely are those types of people.
I was told once that if you wanted to be successful, you have to surround yourself with successful people. Do you find that to be true?
Yes. My first book, again, talks about the five people you surround yourself with the most are the five people that have the most influence on you. So if I'm surrounded by people who are working towards their goals and focused on their goals, hence my teammates, I'm around them a lot. They're all really working hard to get better. In my personal life, my friend Tiffany, everyone who I'm around is always striving to be better. And because I'm around that, then I'm encouraged to do that as well. I know sometimes when I'm around, well, I used to, because not anymore, but like friends who don't have goals, I kind of fall back into that, like, well, I guess, like, if no one's encouraging you, or there's, yeah, as even as an adult, even as world champion or best-selling author, like, I still need to have the environment that nurtures growth and that nurtures development, and be around people that are passionate. Passion is huge. There's so many people on this planet who are not passionate. They get stuck in the rat race, and again, there's nothing wrong with that, but they I think, and I could be wrong, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think sometimes lack of passion comes out in anger. Like, you see people that, like, act out in anger, and it's because or depression is because their soul is like, give me something to love, give me something to do. Yeah, so I try and surround myself with people that nurture and foster that kind of life.
Even as a world champ, you still need a coach. You
Yes.
still need someone who encourages you and can help you just get that much better, just that little itty bit better that can push you forward. And I think when you're competing at that kind of level, I mean, even just getting that much better may give you the edge.
Yes. I'm really, really fortunate. I have really good coaches. Jeff Frater with strength and conditioning. He's where I train my jujitsu at, and I hate it. I lost my love for it. I lost my love for jujitsu. Didn't care if I ever train again. And he invited me to come to the gym, and within like 2 weeks, my fire was there, my passion was there, and it was all because of him. I can pretend to give myself some credit. I did show up, so yeah, there is my credit there. I showed up, but uh, absolutely. There's no top dog. LaRon Wilson, who's been my coach forever, he knows, he'll be like, hey, Jenae, you're getting fat. I'm just kidding. He's not that mean, but he's always been there. He knows he knows when I'm a little down, how to be a little extra supportive. He knows when I need the extra push. So yeah, absolutely having that coach or that mentor, that person that you can look up to, or that person that actually says, I am here for you. Like, I want you to be better. And that, like, in life, like, again, if you surround yourself with people who want that for you, like, all of my friends want me happy. I have, yeah, they all want me happy. They're all, what are we doing? Like, so being around the people that encourage that type of growth helps me grow.
It's so good when you have that kind of support system. It's just so helpful in life to be able to have those people that are in your front row.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're the one on stage, they're in your front row, they're cheering you on, they're clapping. Anytime you do something great, they're there to cheer you up. Anytime you're feeling down, they're there to kind of hold you back up there and hold you accountable. And man, that is such a powerful thing.
I think the word you said too, accountable, some people have a problem with that. Like, when I start slacking off and somebody comes to me and is like, dude, you're slacking off, or this is like, you're not carrying the ball, you're not carrying the weight. Being humble enough to be like, you're right, let's step it back up. But a lot of times when people come, when they hear that correction, or they hear that or they think it's insulting or whatever, they're like, whatever, and they go and they leave. They can't handle that correction, or that it's loving. So I have my degree in child development, and children love discipline. They love to be corrected because they know that they're being invested in. They know that, and again, as an adult, when somebody comes to me and is like, hey, you're slacking off, to me, that's them saying, you can do so much better. You have potential to do so much better. You are a better person. Raise your standards, raise your goals. And to me, that's love. That's love. It's somebody who, because of what I do and who I am, I have a lot of butt kissers. I have a lot of people that are like, oh, you're so great. And I will not hang around them because thank you for the compliment, but no, like, it's false. Does that make sense? Like, it's
Yes.
not genuine. I could do no wrong. And it's like, I don't need that in my life because I am a human and I do a lot of wrong. And where's the good friend that's going to, where's Tiffany's phone call? It's been like, you've been depressed for 5 days. Get out of bed. Like, take a shower. You stink. Like, know, like, that's what I need. And that's also the kind of friend I am too. Like, I will call you out on your crap. Like, you are a better human being than this.
What would you say is the one piece of advice, if you had to give my listeners one piece of advice about how to stay foxy, what would it be?
How to stay foxy. First of all, you have to believe you are. Once you believe you are, then doing the mental gym is what I call it. The mental fights, the mental, wake up in the morning and say, I'm foxy. Go to the mirror and be like, I'm foxy. And that'll just lift your spirits right there. Just, having that moment with yourself, looking in the mirror and be like, I'm confident. On my mirror, it says, today, what am I creating? And it says, because you're perfect. And those two, there's a certain meaning to the because you're perfect. But those two things are the first thing I see in the morning. I'm waking up. What am I creating today? And that could literally be my world. Am I creating a happy world, or am I creating a sad world? So to maintain foxiness, just, you can wake up every day and just look in the mirror, be like, I'm foxy, and define that for yourself. Define what foxy is for you. Define what it means for you. Be that person, authentically, unapologetically. If guy next to you doesn't like it, his problem. If girl down the street has a problem with it, that's her problem. At the end of the day, we only answer to ourselves. I put my head on when I close my eyes, it's only my thoughts I'm going to sleep with. So I to start, define what it is, define what foxy is to you, and then write I'm foxy on your mirror. So the first thing you see when you wake up is I'm foxy, or just some sort of little reminder that can help you each day remember who you are and what your goals and your focus is.
How can people find out more about you and the work that you do, as well as how can we follow you on your Brazilian Jiu Jitsu journey?
You can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is just Jenae Noonan. I have JenaeNoonan.com, Facebook, Jenae Noonan. Everything's Jenae Noonan. I'm on Twitter, but I don't even remember what the handle is because I don't tweet. But everything's Jenae Noonan. My YouTube channel is Jenae Noonan. I blog once in a while when I'm really passionate about something. So every handle you can think of, just look up Jenae Noonan and I'll be there.
Okay, well, I will definitely have some of those links there on the show notes page for this episode. Jenae, we're up on time. Thank you so much for taking the time today. It has been an absolute pleasure getting to chat with you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on your show.